Peace, kings. Peace, queens. On my way back from Sabbath service on a Saturday. Look how the sun is shining. It's beautiful. It's bright. You know, I've been intermediate fasting for probably the last 3 weeks. It's a lifestyle for me now. You know, I got my shades on, my glasses, making me look super intelligent. Peace, kings. Peace, queens. It's your boy B.O.L.O, bringing other legends over, striking like a cobra. One strike is over, and be on the lookout. So right now, what we're seeing nowadays with these gas prices, yeah, that's the name of the video, the gas prices. I digress. Let me hit some of this coffee real quick. That's enough. Woo, that's gonna give me a shot to the stomach. Now I'm gonna get that energy inside of me for society. Check it out. You know, I've been seeing a lot of posts on Facebook, a lot of posts on Instagram, a lot of whimpering, a lot of crying. This post complaining about Biden, the other post, you know, Trump, and you know, to me, man, I don't know how familiar some of you are with certain stories in the scripture, like Joseph and the Pharaoh. And when the famine hit the land, Joseph had a dream that they needed to save in the time of plenty for the time of famine. So those people who are going through hard times, they failed to save in the time of plenty for the time of famine. So when the stimulus money was coming in, when the COVID-19 money was coming in, when the Christmas money was coming in, PPE loans was coming in, the taxes was coming in, all these different government handouts was coming in, extra $600 on the unemployment was coming in, extra $300 on the unemployment was coming in. They didn't get the memo. Maybe I need to store some of this up for the time of famine. But see, when you come from an area in which I come from, the shadow of death, one thing you learn quite well is when things go good, you better plan for when they go bad. So all those who are not survival minded, who overindulged in Christmas, we all want to have a good time. We all want our families to be happy. But how far are we going to go into the gifts in so much that we're living outside of our means, that when January, February, March come around, we crying broke and we crying gas prices? At the end of the day, what are we going to do about it? You still got to pay for your gas. Still got to drive around. Still got to get around. You know when it's going too good, what goes up must come down. It's the law of gravity. It's the law of nature. So I say that to say this. Priorities, priorities, priorities. Some of us need to get our priorities in order. That's the major thing. Priorities, priorities, priorities. Some of us need to learn how to get our priorities in order. And nobody wants to hear you until they're suffering. Then when they're suffering, they want to cry about it. Like somebody's supposed to drop all they have to give them some so that they cannot suffer. No, the suffering is a needful experience. Suffering is a needful experience to those who have not learned the lessons of life. Life teaches you from suffering. People may try to help you, try to steer you out of the way of trials and tribulations, steer you out of the way of heartache and pain, steer you out of the way of misfortune. But at the end of the day, when all else fails, life is going to catch up with you. Life is going to catch up with me. And if we have not learned the lessons in the scripture, or we have not learned the lessons in life, period, we're going to have to learn from what we call suffering. Good old-fashioned suffering. I am no stranger to that word, and I hope I don't have a lot in my future. But I will say this. There's enough wrong in this life than for us to create situations for ourselves. There's enough going wrong in this life than for us to create situations for ourselves. Priorities, priorities, priorities. We got to get our priorities in order. Stop putting your faith and hope and trust in politicians. Stop putting your faith, hope, and trust in lawmakers. Stop putting your faith, hope, and trust in rappers. Stop putting your faith, hope, and trust in your education. Stop putting your faith, hope, and trust in the schooling or the people around you. It's time that you start to believe in yourself and you start to prioritize within yourself the things that need to happen in your life so that when it goes wrong, you're not leaning on a school system. You're not leaning on a welfare government. You're not leaning on Biden. You're not leaning on Trump. You're leaning on self-preparation, preparing yourself for the future. Survival is nobody's responsibility but your own. Survival is nobody's responsibility but your own. We are responsible for our own personal survival. And if we are not prioritizing our lives to which we have a best chance of surviving, we only have ourselves to blame. You have people who constantly live outside of their means. They make 100,000, they spend 100,000. They make $1, they spend $1. They make the cake, they eat the cake. They don't save, they just eat the cake. But you just made the cake. Can't have your cake and eat it too. Can't have your $1 and spend it. Discipline is the word for the day. Being a discipline, being a disciple, being a disciplined one with your finances, with your body, with your focus, with what you allow to permeate your brain cells, what you allow for your spectacles to synchronize on, what you allow to come into your iris, into the gateways of your soul, your responsibility. Surround yourself with the influence in which produces that which will take you to the next level, not only mentally, but spiritually, but in your soul, and to the next level of survival. Gas prices is the least of your worries. Gas prices should be the least of my worries. There's gonna be a famine that's gonna hit this world. That is the least of your problem. You can't get past the gas prices. You definitely not ready for what the future has in store. So this video serves more as like a warning, more so than chastisement, more so than just a teaching lesson. This video serves the purpose of trying to warn those who hear this video and are watching this video. Get your affairs in order. Get prepared. Get your storage rooms filled up with food. Get the rice in there. Get the water in there. Feel me? Get the processed food in there. Get the ramen noodles in there. Get the beans in there. Get the sardines in there. Get your non-perishable items in there. Because at the end of the day, if you're starving, it's not going to matter if you're eating healthy or not. It's only going to matter that you're eating. And if a famine hits this world, which is starting already, The people are going to rush the supermarkets, and all you're going to do is be left with what you got in your house. Make sure your cupboards are full with food. Make sure that you have a vehicle that might not be electronic, just in case they knock the power out, and now you sitting there with a Tesla or some vehicle that can only start up electronically. You want a gas car, man. You want a car in which, regardless, if you got an 86, let me tell you something, a car that moves is better than a car that looks good. You give me a Lamborghini all day long, but if that Lamborghini can't drive down the block, but my 86 Pinto can take me to New York, guess what's better? The 86 Pinto. You understand me? Yeah. Live within your means, bro. Wherever your financial bracket is, live within your means. Don't worry about the Johnsons. Don't worry about, who has more or who has less. Be honest with your situation and live within your means. Get disciplined. Stop worrying about who has what and who's dressing like what, who looks like what, who's accepting. You got a lot of people, even, especially with men. We do everything to impress women. We do everything to, again, I'm going to say it again. We do everything to impress women, but we don't do enough to lead women. And that's why society is the way it is. We do so much to impress women, but we don't do enough to lead women. Women should not have the mentality where they're looking at your economics status and saying, hey, he's making this much, so that means this makes a life for me. No, they need to have a survival mind like, yo, let us come together. Let's build a family. Let's build a tribe. If we work it out together, we'll make it happen. That's the mentality they need to have. They don't need to have the mentality that, hey, let us all go for the 9% that's making over 100,000 and leave the other 80 who have the potential to make that kind of money out on Skid Row. We have created a society where we are trying to impress women as opposed to leading women. Our job is to lead. Our job is to be the head. Our job is to protect. Our job is to secure. Our job is to discipline and love. That's our job. And we are not on our job nowadays, man. We are not on our job. We're too busy trying to impress females. We built this world. We got to come out of that. Come out of trying to impress women all the time. You can't live your whole life trying to go back to the womb that you got out of. Can't live your whole life doing that. Got to get to the point where we're leading. You think in society the men were walking around trying to impress women all the time? With that simpish behavior? Men weren't about that. They were too busy building civilizations. They were too busy like, listen, man, this is your role you need to play. Let's get it. Build this world with me. I'm not trying to impress you. You know what's impressive? This civilization that we're building together. This is what is impressive. You fellas got to get your priorities in order, man. Stop trying to impress people with things that don't mean nothing. Build your tribe. Build your civilization. Lead your woman. Stop with all that trying to floss and do all of that craziness 24/7. And then when it comes to leadership, you ain't got no backbone. You ain't got no masculinity to your voice. It's to the point where they're telling you how to be masculine, how you should lead, what type of head you should be. That's because fathers are not in the home, man, raising their daughters. That's because fathers are not at home raising their sons. That's why everybody's so loose and disrespectful. Because why should they respect a man when the very man that they look up to in their life wasn't there for them? I'm gonna leave it at that. The very man that they was looking up to all their life was never there for them. So that gives brothers like me a hard time to lead and to guide, because there's other brothers that won't raise their kids. There's other brothers that won't be there for their daughters. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, that's a 15-minute video. I'm out. I'm about to go up in here, hit the weights, do some cardio, meditate, and relate. And I hope that was great. Gas prices, baby, they on the rise. But something worse is coming, man. Hey, man, y'all be of good cheer. Peace, kings. Peace, queens. Peace, my legends. We out.